This is the Center for Immigration Studies, okay? This is the people that would know that. Of course illegal immigrants access public health benefits. If you're looking at your screen right now, you will be seeing a picture of the Democratic candidates in the 2019 presidential primary debate right before Joe Biden won it. The question was, in this debate, because I remember watching it, in this debate, the question was, if you are elected, will you ensure that our undocumented immigrants will have access to public health care? Raise your hand, right? Said that even on the description of the photo, it says Democratic candidates in the 2019 presidential primary debate signaled that their health care plans would cover illegal aliens. All of them, every fucking one of them raised their hand. All of them. So yeah, they definitely fucking did. Amid yet another government shutdown, the finger pointing at Capitol Hill has intensified. Remember during this last government shutdown when it was like, listen, the Republicans aren't going to sign shit because we are not going to give health care to our illegal aliens. It's not going to fucking happen. We cannot implode our social welfare systems because many people who actually need this shit will die as a result. And again, that's a bad thing. But the Republicans are the only ones that actually care about that. The Democrats would like as many people as possible to be subject to their welfare systems because it means they're completely dependent on the federal government. And it means they have more power over them, which is not a good thing. And the Republicans want you to be self-governing as much as fucking possible. They want you to do your own motherfucking thing as long as you leave everybody else alone and don't cause any trouble. The current dispute is driven largely by confusion over who counts as an illegal immigrant. God damn it. It's pretty goddamn... Immigration status may sound like a straightforward concept, but the gray area between legal and illegal has been growing. For example, President Joe Biden ballooned the number of illegal immigrants with temporary protected status. Yeah, this is what we're fucking talking about. Joe Biden was trying his best to make sure that nobody could deport all of these fucking illegal aliens that we just kind of drove en masse into this country. From 400,000 to 1.2 million during his term. So there were 400,000 people in the United States that had temporary protected status, right? So they're fleeing something, they're claiming asylum, and they are actually allowed to wait here due to a threat against their life or what have you. During Joe Biden's term, that was ballooned from 400,000 to 1.2 million, okay? That's a big-ass leap, okay? What is it, 150% or so, roughly, give or take. Well, actually, no, like 170%, something like that. Anyway, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Temporary protected status holders have no legal right to live here, but the government has promised not to deport them until their home country resolves what it is supposed to be a major destabilizing condition. Natural disaster, for example, although past administrations have tended to grant and renew temporary protected status for far less. Similarly, President Joe Biden allowed 2.9 million inadmissible aliens to enter the U.S. The U.S. via parole, which, like temporary protected status, gives them a fixed time period to stay before facing removal. So what we're dealing with right now is that many of these people who are causing fucking problems have been guaranteed the ability to be here for X amount of time. And we can't have them here for X amount of time because they'll fuck it up for everybody. So we're trying to work through that. Many do have work permits, which distinguishes them from conventional illegal immigrants. However, since these migrants are still considered inadmissible and removable, and their deferred status is temporary, the Department of Homeland Security and outside experts continue to count them as illegal category. Right, because listen, just because you're allowed to work here doesn't mean you're allowed to stay here. We can send you home at any fucking time so that we can introduce some job openings for actual American citizens who've been having a rough go at it, you know? Estimated size of illegal immigrant population in the United States grew rapidly from 2021 to January 2025. They imported as many as they fucking could. Look at this. As many as they could, because they knew that the citizens of the country were going to side with Trump, and they needed as many illegal aliens as possible to try and vote the Democrat in. The problem was that Joe Biden's mental decline was such that he couldn't hide it anymore, and so they had to throw somebody who was already who was already not at all popular, even among her own party. I think in the Democratic nominee, she got like fucking less than 1% of the vote, whereas, Joe Biden was, I don't know if he even got like 50% of the vote. Anyway, I really thought Bernie was going to win the 2019 Democratic primary, honestly. Prior to passage of the One Big Beautiful Bill, parolees could access Medicaid after a 5-year waiting period. Look, they are able to access Medicaid just directly, just as legal permanent residents can, and they could also qualify for Obamacare subsidies after 1 year. So temporary protected status holders, for their part, could access Obamacare subsidies. The offsets of these privileges, but the Democrats' proposed budget would restore them. Okay, so can we fucking end this argument now? Like, they absolutely were able to. Look at this. Welfare use by nativity and legal status. U.S.-born headed households are blue here. Legal immigrant households are here, which these two columns are fine. Nobody has a problem with the blue column or the orange column here. Illegal headed households, people that are not here legally, people that don't deserve to be in this country, and people that are not contributing to fucking anything, collect more welfare than anybody else. People that don't contribute to welfare collect more of it than anybody. People that don't contribute to the social safety nets in the United States collect far more food stamps than anybody else. People that don't contribute to Medicaid collect more Medicaid than anybody else. This is fucking wild. Why are we allowing this? And why are we debating that it's not even happening? What the fuck? Oh, at least they're not on so much housing as anybody, but it's also pretty close. Anyway, let's look at that welfare use. Welfare use by immigrants and the U.S. born. Okay, illegal immigrants can receive welfare on behalf of U.S. born citizens. Hold on, they can receive it on behalf of U.S. born citizens? What? What? They can get WIC, they can get SNAP, they can get welfare. This is what we just looked at, right? Where it's got any welfare of any kind. 59% of people that are... This is fucking crazy. 59% of illegal immigrants are on any kind of welfare. Wow. 42% of non-citizen headed households are on food stamps. Wow. Oh my god, dude. They're literally leeching off of our system. They're leeching off of the American taxpayer, and we're just allowing it. Like, why are we allowing this? The reason that shit's going to go insolvent is because there's so many people on there that doesn't need to be on there. Forget whether or not they're illegal immigrants. There's a lot of fraud in those fucking systems too. Because there are people that will live off of a Social Security check, that will live off of a disability check, that absolutely have the ability to go and work. There are people, and there are also people that don't have legs that can't fucking get disability because because there's no fucking money in it. There's people that don't have they don't have a pot to piss in, right? That's... Fuck me, dude. There are people that actually need this stuff that can't get it. There are people that actually pay taxes that can't get any kind of help from the established Social Security nets that we have in the U.S. because there's too many people on them already. There isn't any money. Listen, if you take... Let's say that... let's say food stamps, for example, right? If you take that 42% of illegal aliens off of there, just them, take that off of there, how much more money does that introduce to the SNAP program that can then be distributed, right? Like, let's say people get, I don't know what the number is. Let's say they get $500 a month in SNAP, right? That they can do whatever they want with. But that's because there's X amount of dollars that go to SNAP per year, and that has to be distributed 12 different times across everybody that's actually on that system. So it affects the amount that people get. So if you take, let's say, half of the people that are in there off, it will immediately increase that amount to $1,000 a month because it will immediately double the amount that they're allowed to get. Do you see what it... Look, these things can actually help people. They can give you what you need to survive, provided you have the will to do it, and provided we get rid of the fucking fraud. It needs to be harder to get on these programs, man. Okay. So, many illegal immigrants are on this shit. What percentage of Somalians are on some sort of welfare fraud? What percent of Somalians are fucking with the United States social safety nets? And what percent of Somalians, which don't need to be here, are leeching off the American taxpayer? How much of my money is going to how many of these fucking people?
Perhaps the only difference.
Oh, this is News Nation. 42% of Somalians in the U.S. receive SNAP benefits. This is their YouTube channel. Let's see what they have to say about it. I love pausing stuff like this and seeing dumb little faces that people make during the pause is just funny to me. Anyway,
between what happened in Maine and what happened in Minnesota is Maine has far fewer Somali immigrants. It raises the question of how many Somalis have come to the United States to use our systems, not to fulfill the American dream. 42% of Somalis in America are on SNAP, otherwise known as food stamps. That's almost half on public assistance.
SNAP, Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, which is what you might hear. I don't know. It depends if you're one of the Somalian people with an average IQ of like 60-something, I think. Which is a debated number, but it's not debated by much. Which is funny. But anyway, if you're Somalian with an average IQ, you'll probably only ever refer to it as SNAP because you don't know what the actual acronym means. But if you're a regular American citizen or somebody that's not a fucking potato, then you will know that SNAP is, you know what I mean. Anyway.
It's startlingly
if you read, you might see it written as Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program.
high. Just 12% of all Americans are on SNAP. Vilifying immigrant communities in America goes all the way back to the beginning of the nation, maybe even before that.
12% of U.S. citizens are on SNAP. 42% of Somalians are on SNAP. I wonder why. I wonder what could have led them to want to leech off of the American taxpayer like that. And I wonder what could have led the Democratic Party into covering for and even running defense for these motherfuckers.
At the city pool in my grandmother's hometown, there was a sign that said, "No Jews, no N-words, no dogs." So I'm particularly sensitive to preserving America's melting pot. But those coming to America must want to be Americans, not...
Yeah, and now we don't have signs like that because there's civil rights and such. The problem is if you're not an American citizen and you're causing problems, you shouldn't be allowed to remain here, is my thing. You shouldn't get the rights of being an American citizen if you aren't one.
Coming to America.
And in Ilhan Omar's case, if you're a traitorous wench to the U.S. Constitution, particularly within the U.S. House of Congress, and literally committing treason against this country, you should be jailed. And I think that the punishment for treason is a little bit worse than that, which again I'm fine with.
America.
We're going to follow the law here.
To live off Americans. A Somali-American professor spoke to the New York Times. Quoting the Times, Dr. Sharmar Attar said that some Somali refugees who came to the United States after their country's civil war were raised in a culture in which stealing from the country's dysfunctional and corrupt government was widespread.
Listen, it's fine. They can steal from you. They can defraud the U.S. government. They can leech off the American taxpayer because it's just part of their culture. They grew up that way. They don't know any better. I don't fucking care. They're adults and actions have consequences. Why are we saying that it's okay because they're too stupid to fucking know any better? If they're too stupid to know any better, why the fuck are they here?
This now to help understand what makes the Somali community different, Dr. Ahmed Shamatar, James Wallace Professor of International Studies at Macalester College in St. Paul, Minnesota. Professor, it's good to see you. Thank you.
So many people defraud. This guy's going to explain to us why the Somalian community specifically is a different kind of fraud. Let's see what he has to say. I wonder if he's going to run defense, because again, I don't watch this shit. You guys know I don't watch this prior to the stream because I want my reaction to be as genuine as possible, and I think I've had some funny reactions, honestly. Anyway, I don't watch it prior to stream because I want my shit to be genuine. So I wonder if this guy's going to run defense for the Somalian community. He looks like he doesn't play anybody's bullshit, so I don't think he will, but let's find out.
Thank you very much for being with us. Do you see that the Somali population in, we'll just go with Minnesota, wants to become Americans, or they want to have their Somali community
No, they're mostly Muslims. They definitely don't want to become Americans, for sure.
in America and take
I don't know if you know this, but the Muslim community calls America the Great Satan.
advantage of what America has to offer without becoming Americans?
I think there are two Somali Americans,
Okay.
particularly in Minnesota, but probably even in
For sure. All of the people that came here legally, went in through the front door, followed the processes, and have now assimilated into our country because they actually care about our laws and just want to live their lives. All those guys are fine. Those are my brothers in arms, right? All the other fucking people that didn't need to go.
Maine, and that is Somali Americans who have embraced the culture of this country,
Yep.
who have settled down so deeply in this country.
Yeah, those
and
guys
have
are
become
fine.
very successful. You can see them in their successes in medicine, from being, very good doctors.
Sure, there's many doctors, there's many lawyers, there's many gas station fucking cashiers that are just trying to live their lives. Those guys are fine as long as they're here legally. But pretending that they're all fucking doctors is wild to me. And if there is an illegal alien that's a doctor, ship his ass out too.
You can see
You,
them in,
you yourself is a great example.
well, academics, that's right, thank you very much. Engineering, you can see them in business, you can see them in law.
Everywhere. But are they the exception or are they the rule?
And then there are some
They're definitely the exception. For sure.
Somalis that
He's trying to clarify that. He's like, listen, I know you're calling them doctors and lawyers and stuff, but are those guys the exception or the rule, right? They're definitely the exception. He just wants to try and get this guy to say that because, for whatever reason, the retards that are in the United States right now that watch this are just going to think that Trump's trying to deport all of our doctors and lawyers and such, and he's not doing that at all.
but their numbers are small, but it's the ones that the program is talking about who defraud their respective states. So one has to
Yeah, so we're only worried about the people that are fucking criminals and defrauding the United States, which I'm fairly certain is a federal offense.
distinguish between those two groups.
Look, I know lying on a federal document intentionally is a federal offense. I don't know if it's misdemeanor or what, but still.
This is from the Daily Mail. Somalia's deep-rooted social traditions, child marriages, high rates of in-group remarrying, and patriarchal family structures also complicate integration into U.S.
Oh no, a patriarchal family structure. No. I think the bigger question is whether or not these people are inbred, right? And I'm fairly certain a lot of them are.
society where values of gender equality, individual autonomy, and secular civic norms dominate. Again, as somebody whose grandmother
Deeply rooted family structures, so much so that we are still different clans warring over land. Fucking idiots.
came here, and certainly whose great-grandparents came here, they deeply wanted to be Americans. How do we explain that 42% of Somalis are on SNAP benefits when most immigrant populations would view that as a failure, not a feature?
Well, a significant one.
It's definitely a failure. People that have the ability to work should absolutely be forced to. And I'm not talking about like forcing them to do it, like at gunpoint or whatever. But if you have the ability to work, you should not be given the opportunity not to. You know, if you can't provide for yourself because of some physical disability or mental disability or something like that, if you physically cannot do it, and I'm not talking about like with anxiety, because if you have anxiety, fuck you, all right? You're an adult, so does everybody else in the world. Deal with it. But if you, like people that don't have legs, they can't go to work, right? They have to either find an office job at home, which they could do, honestly. But I do think they should get some sort of disability because they can't work, right? We're trying to take care of the people that don't have the ability to provide for themselves. But when you have the ability to provide for yourself, but won't do it, I don't think you should be allowed to leech off the American taxpayer. I don't think my money should be given to people who refuse to provide for themselves. Period. If you can't, that's one thing. But if you refuse to, that's a totally different situation. Okay? I have been known within my like family and friend circles that I will help anybody. I will give anybody the shirt off of my own back. But I will stop helping you the moment that you show me you are unwilling to help yourself. Okay? I will open my home to you until you decide that you're just going to be here and you don't have to provide for yourself or help yourself in any way.
Part of the people who have come to the United States came here as particularly as refugees. And that is after the collapse of their own state and then the massive...
Yeah, but how many quote-unquote free countries did they go through before they fucking got here? Why do they have to wait here on refugee status? Why can't they wait somewhere else? Go to England, go to France, go to Spain, go to any fucking where in Europe. Why do you have to come across the entire planet to come here specifically? There are many countries you could go to that are much closer.
Civil war destruction.
Because it's not about them fleeing and seeking refugee status somewhere. It's not about them seeking asylum. It's about them coming to the United States and getting into the interior as fast as they can.
And that took place. So
and then they don't have to worry about actually assimilating to anything because, well, they didn't fucking put any work to get here, and they also don't care. They're just going to fuck it up for everybody. They're going to destroy the places that they go to, and they're going to try and turn it into the place that they came from because the object is that's what they're going to do. They're literally told to do so by their government, by their community, and by their God.
So they are fleeing a particular place that was almost really quite
Again, they can flee a place, but they don't have to come here. There's so many places they could go to.
uninhabitable anymore. Those people came here with minimum education. These people came here with minimum capacity to adapt. You see, those who were in schools and who went to schools here became very successful. But the ones that you are talking about, these 42% or so, now, people who have not been successful in adapting because they don't have and they did not have the critical skills that are necessary for one to become adaptive and then penetrate into the American society.
Well, that sucks for them. They shouldn't be here. If they are not adding value to this to their communities, if they are not adding value to this country, they should not be here. I don't care how good the food is. And I'm fairly certain that their food isn't good. I have never seen a Somalian food restaurant, okay? Chinese, I'll fuck up. But Somalian food, I don't know if that's a thing. They eat dogs, right? That was a thing going around.
Culture and make something good of
I'm not sure how many skills my grandparents and great-grandparents from the shuttle had, but your point's well made, Professor.
The point about the thing about America is that you can come here with no skills and still make something of yourself, right? Like that for real, dude. Like you don't have to know how to do anything to own a company that does that thing. You just have to know people that do know how to do it, and you have to set up the jobs, and you have to be a people person. That's all you need to do. You need to know how to read and write. That's that. And honestly, all of these people have had plenty of time to learn how to do that. They all got fucking phones paid for courtesy of the U.S. taxpayer. There's an app called Duolingo that will teach you. I'm not sponsored. That will teach you a whole other language really fast, actually. You will be conversational English in no time.
It's good to see you. Thank you.
Thank you for...
All right, yeah, that's News Nation telling us about the percentage of Somalians that are on SNAP benefits, and honestly, with this kind of fraud, it's no wonder that the program is about to fucking implode on itself. It's no wonder the Republicans said, listen, no, we can't do that, all right? We can continue doing what we're doing while we figure out how to figure it out, but we can't give more people money that we don't have because there's too many people. Look, how many people were collecting a Social Security check that like Doge found that were like 300 years old, right? How much money were we giving to nobody? How much money is being redirected to foreign agencies? How much money are we indirectly giving terrorist organizations? It's commonly known that the U.S. will probably fund both sides of a war. And listen, I'm not gonna run D on that. That's a problem that we have. I think we need to stop doing that and fund our military enough that it can just conquer these other shithole countries. I'm just saying, if these countries are fucking falling apart, we should just kind of swoop in there and take it. You know what I mean? And we can build it up. Give it American infrastructure. Give it American laws. Give these people an actual ability to make something of themselves in that region of the world. They don't have to come here. Alright, so yeah, definitely go to their channel. Definitely subscribe to them, etc., etc. I really like News Nation. They're pretty awesome. While you're on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to my channel at youtube.com/Cestal_G2D because I am the second coming. Okay. Anyway, also follow me on X at Cestal. Go to Rumble if you just don't care about YouTube anymore. And follow me there too at rumble.com/Cestal. Right? Anyway, you're watching me on Kick already. You can subscribe to me here. That's fine. I enjoy people to talk to.
Fraud scheme uncovered in Minnesota found money intended for social services has been allegedly siphoned indirectly into the pockets of the Somali terrorist group Al-Shabaab.
All right. Al-Shabaab is a terrorist group in Somalia that is linked to an awful lot of, well, the most recent things that they have done is a bunch of car bombings. And also they tried to assassinate the Somalian president, Sheikh Mohammed something or another, I think is what his name was. Anyway, so yeah, they tried to assassinate the Somalian president, and they've been involved in like 4 or 5 different car bombings. That's just in the year 2025. I looked that up because I was like, man, I've heard Al-Shabaab before. What the heck is that? Turns out it's a terrorist organization that is in Somalia and is frequently killing people all the time. In fact, they've taken over several cities recently, within like 2020, within this year.
Somali immigrants in Minnesota have reportedly been abusing systems meant to help the most.
They're killing each other and taking over cities and trying to assassinate the president. Meanwhile, Ilhan Omar is here in the United States bitching about her rights as an American citizen, bitching about the U.S. society, and explaining how she wants her children to grow up in Somalia. I think we should send them all there. If that's what they want so goddamn badly, we should let them go back to that shithole country. But they don't. They don't actually want to do that. They just want a virtue signal to their communities. Like I said, Ilhan Omar was elected to Congress out of the 5th District of Minnesota, which happens to be Minneapolis, which happens to have a very large community of Somalians. They, like so much so that the mayor of Minneapolis, I think right now, speaks Somalian in speeches just to placate to that fucking audience. Like, They have to do this because it's all about the virtue signal for them. It's all about them getting money. That's all of it, right? I would say it's all of it, and then also their God calls them to destroy America and anybody that doesn't believe in them. So like, there's a reason they're killing us. There's a reason they're taking our money. The goal is the goal is conquest from within, right? And we can't allow it. We need to send them back.
Unfortunate among us, including the latest federally funded autism services. The autism fraud scheme reportedly amassed $14 million through Medicare claims for services that were never provided, involving kids who never had autism. And the Somali immigrants behind this web of schemes have allegedly stolen billions from taxpayers, much of the money going back to the Somali government, where it would then end up in the hands of terrorists. Manhattan. Okay, so let me get this right. They imported a bunch of Somalians into Minneapolis so that they could then funnel money through various fraudulent charity schemes back to the terrorist organizations in Somalia so they can continue their terrorist ways on the Somalian community there. And we're claiming that Somalia is this just like utopian bastion of freedom that we need to really model for the U.S. What the fuck are we talking about? Yeah, it's a shithole country. We know it's a shithole country. That's why Trump called it a shithole country. And we know that Ilhan Omar is a traitorous wench because she fucking said so. An Institute investigative reporter Ryan. But how much of my money from my taxpayer dollars has gone to fund terrorist organizations? If this doesn't piss you off, I don't know what would. Like, what the fuck? These people are killing us. They want us dead, and we're giving them money to do it. Why? Dude, any politician that was involved in this at all should, at minimum, be jailed for the rest of their fucking lives. At minimum, man. They are providing actual material, like substance, to actual terrorist organizations, right? Like, that's a crime, isn't it? I'm fairly certain that's a crime. Material support to terrorist organizations is actually a crime. It's one of the main reasons why people want Hassan Piker fucking arrested, right? was one of the first exposing the schemes for their ties to terrorism. With us now, Ryan, a line from your story stuck out. The largest funder of al-Shabaab is the Minnesota taxpayer, and you cite an unnamed source for that.
Yeah, because if we name the source, he'll be killed.
What?
These people behead people for disagreeing with them. 2 people that were fighting over control in the Somalian government, instead of arguing, decided to shoot each other.
What is the evidence that all of this money that was taken and the billions upon billions of increased funding in Minnesota for social services ended up in Somalia?
Well, billions of dollars of government welfare money is missing in the state of Minnesota.
How do we define missing?
Well, the fraud is
Probably unaccounted for, right? There's not a paper trail following it to its destination, right? Like, there's supposed to be schools that were built, but there's no ground, right? This is supposed to be a hospital, but it's an empty warehouse, you know?
so bad that the U.S. Attorney's Office has come out and indicated that they believe their entire government programs, where the fraudulent claims outstrip the legitimate ones. There are cases where indictments have come down.
This should piss off every American citizen that pays taxes. The reason that you don't get to keep your money is because of these motherfuckers fraudulently claiming that they need it, and for whatever reason it's being given to them even though they are not also contributing to that same thing. People whose Social Security is denied should be pissed off right now.
Or guilty pleas are already in to the tunes of hundreds of millions of dollars that were fraudulently obtained.
Oh yeah, all these people look like supermodel citizens, right? Yeah.
Filing false claims alongside doctored paperwork. And
you know, I could have guessed that these people were probably in on it. Yeah. I could have also guessed that all of these people have an IQ of about 68. It looks like it. I mean, two of these guys look like a fish. You know, she looks like a. This one on the bottom right looks like a Q-tip. That cannot be comfortable, dude. My God, why does she have it covering her chin like that?
Indictments are.
This is what I'm talking about. This is the kind of retarded behavior. What the fuck is this?
Continuing to come, and
oh, more people.
This is a network of fraud schemes stacked upon.
That guy doesn't even know where the camera is.
While the true
He's like, "What's happening now?"
In terms of stolen funds at this point isn't quite clear. It's safe to say that we're talking about billions of dollars.
Okay. It's pretty wild, some of the things that you lay out, including one group called Feeding the Future that went from getting $3.4 million in 2019 to $200 million 2 years later. They grew faster than NVIDIA. How did nobody see that?
Because it was under the Biden. Sorry, it was definitely the Obama administration for a third fucking term, but definitely under the Biden administration, where they imported as many fucking illegal immigrants, especially from Somalia, as they possibly could, which is, you know, what led to Ilhan Omar being as popular as she is now.
Or is it that people and the government and those who are supposed to be the watchdogs, like Tim Walz, like Keith Ellison, the Attorney General, there just weren't looking?
I think.
Yeah, they definitely weren't looking because it's all about the grift for them. As a matter of fact, they probably knew. They probably knew and didn't care because they're also getting money. I bet you Tim Walz is getting money from these organizations somehow.
It's safe to say that there was a real unwillingness or inability among Democratic state officials in Minnesota to recognize some pretty obvious alarm bells here.
Yeah, it's almost like the political party that wants to let out career criminals because everybody deserves a 1 millionth second chance. You know, and the party that wants to continue to release violent criminals that then lead to the deaths of people like Irina Zarutska, you know, people that want to get fucking pedos off people that want to get violent sexual assaultists off, like Hillary Clinton, where she got the one guy that raped that chick off, like, because there was no proof or whatever. Yeah, no, it sounds to me like the political party that wants to protect criminals is continuing to want to protect criminals. Weird, right? Their whole program is literally, vote for us, we'll give you free shit. And all the people that are currently collecting that free shit are going to continue to vote for it so they don't lose the free shit. That's their whole agenda. That's their whole plan, buddy. Like, that's it. Get everybody dependent on the government so that you continue to stay in power, because if you aren't in power anymore, they might not get their shit from the federal government anymore, and they might have to do it themselves.
All across these programs, claims were skyrocketing.
If you don't have the will or ability to take care, well, if you don't have the will to take care of yourself, we should let Darwin do his thing.
Absolutely spiraling out of control over a short period of time. And the reality is that the Somali community, which is where these large-scale fraud rings have been concentrated within this population in the state, it is a sizable voting bloc. It is a voting bloc you have to win if you're going to win political office in Minneapolis. And so I think that was...
See? It's all about the grift. That's it. It's all about the grift. It doesn't matter how retarded the voters are. Who was the guy? Who was the guy that said it? I don't know. Some bearded, like, guru guy was like, democracy is supposed to be a government of the people, by the people, for the people. But the people are retarded, right? So that's one of the downfalls, honestly, of if we let the American populace become retarded, then that's just kind of how it's going to work. That's full idiocracy, right? If we keep allowing retards to procreate, eventually everybody will be retarded. Their birth rate is so much higher than the U.S. citizen, like, for real. Like, they will outbreed us if something doesn't change. That will happen. There will be more retards.
Likely a incentive here that made some people not want to look too closely at what's been going on.
Wow. And that would explain why now it's the U.S. attorney looking into it rather than the state law enforcement or state fraud investigators. Is there any indication, Ryan, as you get, it's one of those things, you drop an investigative piece and then all of a sudden you get 1,000 more tips, that this goes higher, like actually into state government? You get the last 30 seconds.
I can't confirm that. So I don't want to get out in front of my skis here. What I can say is that this story has generated additional tips, and it is something that we are continuing to look into as we push forward with our efforts to expose the fraud rings that have been taking advantage of the generosity of Minnesota taxpayers.
Yeah, stunning also how little pickup this has gotten around the country in terms of the rest of the media. Applaud your guys' continued work on it. Ryan, come back and talk to us as you uncover more, all right?
Excellent. Sounds good.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and down.
Boy, that's loud. Anyway, yeah, so Somali immigrants defrauding U.S. social safety nets. And they're getting arrested for it now. They're getting caught, which is great, all right? Fuck these guys, man. I would like, look, in the future, if I need, I don't now, thank fucking gods, but if in the future I am not able to provide for myself and my family because of some physical disability, or maybe I have a stroke or some shit and my brain doesn't work anymore, I want to be able to provide for them via the social safety nets, right? I want to be able to still do something for them via the programs that I have paid into for so long. Okay? I want to be able to use them if I need to. But if there's too much fraud on that shit, I can't. I can't use them. Because they'll go insolvent. I mean, it's a lot like the pensions in a lot of the unions nowadays, where you have to have like 4 people paying into the pension in order to pay one guy that's pulling from the pension. It's a terrible system, and it's not going to be sustainable, particularly if we can't get people to join unions anymore, which, look, I have my own opinions about unions. The more I learn about them, the more I don't ever want to fucking work for one. because I think it's a good idea, but I also think, much like everything else, there's a lot of fraud in them. But anyway, so people are pissed. Trump is coming after the Somalian community, particularly after they defrauded the American taxpayer for billions of dollars, apparently. So follow me here on Kick. Go to x.com/Sestel or real_Sestel to follow me there as well. I make based opinions. If you like that, you can follow me over on YouTube at youtube.com/Sestel_G2D. If you don't like YouTube anymore, you can go over to Rumble and follow me there if you'd like. I'm everywhere the videos are made. Yeah, I'll see you guys next week. Again, I will be probably on my regular schedule again next week. So anyway, see you guys later. Bye.